This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name's Jay Agner. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Nicky Senyard. Did I get it right?
Sure did.
Perfect. CEO and founder of Fintel Connect. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks very much.
I was joking because I clearly have on a golf shirt, and I've seen you've been into golfing lately, and you called it your golfing odyssey. Why do you call it your golf odyssey?
I think it's one of those things that when you float around the edges of something for a long time, but then you make a commitment to go heavily into something, I'm calling my odyssey. I'm fortunate enough to have the opportunity to play at Pebble Beach shortly, and I've decided that I want to give it my best effort. So therefore, I'm on my golf odyssey.
I would be disappointed if you said you were just going to half-ass such a nice golf course, but I'm glad to hear you're going to give it your all. When are you playing that next week, did you say?
Yeah, next weekend.
All right. Well, tell me about Fintel Connect. We caught up a bit and, I had some questions and you answered some questions, but I want to hear from you. What is Fintel Connect? Why did you start it? What is it?
Yeah, Fintel Connect is a digital acquisition platform. We actually work with financial institutions, banks, credit unions, and fintechs to help them grow net new customers. It could be on the deposit side, it could be on the loan side, and we do it across North America. So we do it across Canada and in the US. So we're a niche business. The acquisition tactic is called affiliate programs. And affiliate programs is just one of the most powerful digital acquisition, whether you're talking about organic search, email marketing, social media marketing, or whatever else. It's in that genre of tactics. So it's one that we have specialized in. There's a lot of generalists around. And as technology has advanced and as people's desire, need, and want to do more online, financial services is no different. We can now shop on Instacart and, all of the rest of it and get everything through Shop It. So banking is the same. So we're there to help banks grow.
Give me an example. Like, what's your prime kind of use case working with one of those banks?
It's usually a bank, credit union, or fintech, and let's call them financial institutions because we do across all of them. It's a use cases where they're wanting to get more deposits, for example. And what we'll do is we'll deal with a digital brand or our regional bank that's looking to acquire depositing customers throughout the country. And we'll help them find those customers through these third parties. And the third parties are what we call publishers or influencers. And that could be NerdWallet, it could be Credit Karma, it could be Forbes. So we basically are the technology platform that sits between the banking's digital account opening platform and these third parties, and we link them together. We're almost like the plumbing that makes this sort of stuff just flow. Consumers aren't impacted by it at all. So it makes no difference on them in terms of the quality of the service or the type of product that is offered. But it's really about a commercial model where the publishers are paid for the results that they get for the bank, the depositing client. So it's a CPA model.
Got it. And you guys take a slice of that?
Yep.
Got it. Beautiful. All right. Well, where did you grow up? And did that have an impact on you being such an awesome entrepreneur?
I grew up in Australia. Australia as a country is very isolated from the rest of the world. It's incredibly beautiful, but isolated. So I think where it gave me the drive was to always question because everything happened to be somewhere else. So moving overseas, when we moved to Canada, it was my second stint overseas because I'd always saw that there were opportunities with much larger populations in other places. But I think Australia is a very brutal country in terms of I think it has almost every deadly creature that can kill you is in the place, and the ozone layer breaking up and all the rest of it. So the sun damage is, it's a very brutal place. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful and pristine, but still very harsh. And I think that's probably what gave me a whole lot of resilience in terms of looking at becoming an entrepreneur, because when you observe nature and see it survive and thrive, you think, okay, I can do this.
You're definitely the first guest who a depleted ozone was part of your origin story. That's a pretty good one. I will have to give you that. What was the first business you started? Was it Fintel Connect or was it something
No,
else?
yeah, I had another business before this. This is my second. We did the same type of technology platform, affiliate marketing, but again for another niche. So we created the largest affiliate technology platform in the world for regulated online gambling. So I think what happens is that when you go into a niche, you can go deep and you can actually become part of the solution, which I like to be have utility in what we do and provide value. And I think going into a niche allows us to do that. So that business we started in 2002, which if you look at it, Google started in 98. So we weren't that far behind that trend. And we were able to fortunately exit in 2016. So there's been sort of like these very good hopscotch effects in terms of us developing businesses, but it's always been around the value that we can offer to the customers and the publishers, because I see us as a very useful middleman in what we do.
Was your background in some sort of being affiliate marketing or some sort of affiliate kind of the middleman piece? Well, how did you kind of fall
My
into this?
background was in corporate PR and marketing. So I was dealing with journalists a lot. So if you look at, I love earned media. So the whole idea of being able to work with the journalists so that they convey a story to help educate or inform or help their audience. And I saw affiliate marketing as a very quick little sidestep using technology to be able to do that, because the publishers that we work with have an audience base that they're interested in helping. So we just help those publishers make money from helping their audience.
Beautiful. Well, who was your first customer at both of your businesses?
My first customer in the regulated online gambling was a customer called Lassiter's, which was an Australian-based online casino who is no longer in existence, I think. And my first financial services client was Scotiabank in Canada. So yeah,
that's a pretty good one to get. How did you, so the obvious next question is, how did you get those to be your customer?
I think the first one was through networking, and it was that classic, you work very hard to be at the right place at the right time. The second one would probably have been the same. Scotiabank in about 2011, 2012 were looking to start affiliates for their credit card program. We were Canadian. We replied for an RFP and we won it. So we were Canadian, we could integrate with legacy technology, and we were able to support them because we knew what we were doing. So, and they're still a client today. So it's been a very long, very fruitful relationship for both of us.
I don't know the landscape physically and I guess business wise in Canada. I am a dumb American, so my geography is very limited. But just in general, I love to hear kind of owning your backyard when it comes to using that as a lever for sales, right? Like, why would you go to California if you're in, I don't know, British Columbia as your first customer, right? Like, why not own the companies around you? Has that continued to be something you guys lean on, as being, Canadian and being, from a certain area and then kind of expanding out? How did you guys treat geography when it came to sales?
The great thing about technology and the internet and the digital world that we live in is there are no boundaries, right? There are no borders and boundaries for that. But I think what happens is that when you put a pin in it, you start to then orientate yourself around it because of word of mouth more than anything else. So we really, in this niche that we're in, dominate the Canadian market just because of time and reputation and referrals. But the great thing is that we're also making great headway in the US, because what we do actually provides a utility that I don't think people knew that they were missing. So you know how sometimes you don't know what you need until you've got it or have the opportunity to have it? I think that's actually what we're providing. We're not the one that created the widget. We're not, but we're basically morphing the widget into something very powerful for financial services that I don't know that they knew that they were missing, because the other alternatives aren't bad. They're just not as powerful as what we are. So I think it's a very good example of just because it doesn't exist doesn't mean it can't exist. It just means that you need to probably look at what the utility is and the value is.
Very interesting. I harp on this a lot as we've kind of moved upstream with our customers is educational sales versus kind of direct sales of somebody that you know has the problem. How do you still do both? Do you still try to
Yeah.
educate customers that don't know
Yeah.
what they need, and then you
Yeah,
guys are
I think
burning,
what
right?
it is I'm definitely about rising the tide, just raising the understanding of general awareness. And that's what a lot of times we're trying to do is basically provide the tools for people in a way that they can consume them. There is a saying though, you can lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink. But I think what we're trying to do is provide that there's a lot of these water troughs around the place so people can dig in when they're ready. So I think it's definitely a channel education. It's definitely a business functionality, like how are we different from our competitors? And then it's us being able to deliver on that. So I think it's a wide range of things. And we're a really new business, right? So we've only been around for 5 years in this format that we've got right now. And in that being the case, financial institutions, especially the bigger ones that we're dealing with, are known to be very long in their decision making process because of the security and the processes they've got. So I think what we're doing is doing a bit of both, planting a couple of seeds, plus, trying to be right there when people are needing what they're needing.
Financial institutions, obviously, lots of market research probably available on them, being such a big industry in the world. How do you guys kind of identify? There's probably a real word for this, but I just call it hungry TAM versus TAM, right? It's like there's total addressable market, like people you could potentially work with in general terms that fit with what you do. I don't want to be a guy selling hot dogs in a cafeteria. I want to be selling them outside of a coal mine at lunchtime, right? Like that. I want to be serving hungry, people. How do you kind of figure out what slice of who's potentially available is like actually ready to go and could be a really good fit right now?
I think that's it comes down to research. I mean, we've got our 5 criteria that we think makes a client successful in this channel. But the things that we are still in discovery bit when we talk to people is to find out where their appetite is and what the problem is. What we try to focus on is what is their goal? What is their goal? And if we can have any utility towards helping them get that goal or reaching it, that's where we then double down our effort. And one of the best examples is somebody may be doing affiliate marketing and it's just business as usual. And then something happens and the commercial bank gets a big commercial loan and they need another $200 million worth of deposits. I mean, these are very big numbers, but you can substitute anything into it. And then that becomes where there's a real need for what we do. We do not want to be with clients unless we can make a difference. So what we try to do is a whole lot of question asking in terms of what do they want to achieve in the channel? Where does this come into their strategic operations and plans? And what problem do we solve? Because as soon as you solve a real problem, not a fake problem, then you know that you're actually going to provide value. And that can only come through building up the trust and asking intelligent questions.
So you told me who your first customer was. Who is your first customer compared to who your customer is today? Now I know you said you have some that are the same customers for a bunch of years, but who do you go after today? Has it changed at all? Is it exactly the same? Is it a different type of institution?
It's been like we've gone a little bit more up market. I think when we started the business, we started with the concept of greenfield site neutrality and totality, like being able to see everybody and surface everyone. And then what we've realized is that to really juice the orange juice out of this orange, you need to have some infrastructure. So what we've really decided to do as a business is go where people have the infrastructure and the appetite. So as opposed to you can have a fintech, a newly funded seed round or Series A fintech that's got the appetite, but they don't have the infrastructure. They're still working themselves out. Or you could have a community bank that may have the infrastructure, but not the appetite. So what we're just trying to do is look at those two things together to actually sort of get that cross point where we can have great impact and utility.
You've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. What's the biggest lesson from your biggest failure during that time period?
The biggest lesson that I've learned from my biggest failure is there is always a solution. You might not like it. It may not be your first choice, but there's always a solution. And that's where it really comes down to being able to bet on yourself and your team to be able to get yourself out of any hole that you're in. Because at the end of the day, things are going to go sideways. They always do, not because of maliciousness or lack of or not paying attention to the right things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build. And when you build, you break. And so you need to be able to mend on the fly and have the confidence that you and your team can do it.
What would you do if you had to start over tomorrow? Same market, same kind of business. What's step one for you if you wake up tomorrow and Fintel Connect no longer exists, but you want to start the same business? What's step one?
I think it's going to where you've got your networks. So I think it is one of those sorts of things that one of the things that is never spoken about ever is that whatever we're doing, whether it's technology based, whether it's physically products based, whatever, it's really about people. And it's about people and what they feel that they can, whether they can trust you, whether you can trust them, whether they feel that you understand the world through their eyes or very close to. So I think the thing that I really learned from this business was that wherever you have networks of good people, then that is the place to go. So what we've done with this business is that we had a great concept, very good technology that we're building. We also knew how we had utility and we're solving a problem, but what we didn't have is the networks. So that's what we're building on. We're building on those deep rooted connections that you've got with the community that you're in to actually create the growth. And that if I was to start again, I would say that was something that I never perceived to be as important as I do now.
Yeah, I love it. I'm sorry, I was going to say, I love that because I know a lot of people that have had success and not done that. And then they hit a wall and realize, oh, wait, I'm in a space where I don't know who the other players are, who my clients are, is it going to business groups? Is it going to conferences? Is it going how are you building this kind of, especially like stodgy kind of space, like financial, those guys are maybe a little stiff sometimes. How are you actually making real, I'm not saying all of them, by the way, obviously, but just in general, it's not the most exciting, space sometimes.
It is because once you understand the content of it, it does become really exciting.
That's fair. There you go.
Well, it does with everything, right? It's when you can peel back the layers of it's just good people trying to do good stuff, right? And it just happens to be around money, which is also really interesting because there's a lot of regulatory restrictions to it and a whole lot of different, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I think where it all comes down to is that you build the relationships bit by bit and you make good relationships and people refer you on to next ones and tell you where you should be. And people I've found building this business to be incredibly supportive and helpful. But I think I also go in with it with a very curious mindset. So I'm wanting to understand. So therefore, I'm finding people that can help.
How do you do that in I'm probably asking this the wrong way, a non-disingenuous way, right? You see all the people who are saying, I just want to help, I just want to, and they come across as like very salesy, but like if you're out there and you're trying to build this network and you're trying to get in touch with people in a space that you don't know very well, how do you, in very real terms, be a real person and make connections with these people? Is it going to lunch? Is it going to coffee? Is it like just talking to people?
It's being at the conferences, it's reaching out, it's sort of like, you have to put yourself out there and you have to put yourself out there as authentically as possible. I think one of the things that I'm very fortunate that there, as a personal philosophy, I've just chosen to be who I am. Some people like it, some people don't, and I appreciate that because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. All good. But I think what happens is that when I get to meet people for the first time or get to be able to spend a little bit of time with them, people have a very good bullshit meter. They know. And I think the thing is that I am genuinely curious and I am quite fascinated about how people do things and why they do it. And I do want to be part of the solution. So some people will perceive that, and then there's a connection, and some people will see it as a sales tactic or ploy, and there won't be a connection. So luckily, in the later stages of my life with all my gray hair, there's some work and some don't. I just have to keep on kissing the frogs.
Kiss the frogs. Kiss them all. All right, I have one more question for you, non-business related, just Nicky being Nicky. What would you do if you could do anything on earth and you knew you wouldn't fail?
What I'm doing. Because I'm not going to fail. And I love it. I love building businesses. I love the intrigue. I love the problem solving, and I love the relationships. So I have been very fortunate. My first exit allowed me not to have to do anything again. And yet I did, because I genuinely love building.
Beautiful. All right. If anybody want to hear anything they heard about you today or Fintel Connect, how do they find you, and how do they find Fintel?
Oh, great. We're online, fintelconnect.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Nicky Senyard.
Nicky Senyard. Is there any other Nicky Senyards on LinkedIn?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we'll make sure we link you there. All right, Nicky, you're fantastic. I loved spending some time with you, and you have a good week. We'll be talking to you soon, okay?
Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. Thanks, Nicky. See ya.